What is going on, all you gecko guys and gals? Today I wanted to shoot a quick video on how to use MorphMarket. There's a couple of things that MorphMarket does really well. Number one, it allows you to find animals that are for sale. Number two, it allows you to see all the genetic varieties that are out there. Number three, it allows you to see the competitive price. And number four, it allows you to make genetic combinations with its calculator. So I want to start you guys from scratch here. This is my desktop. Please excuse all my personal files and everything, but I want to show you how you get to MorphMarket from scratch. So log into your web browser, whatever you use, my search engine. So I'm going to search MorphMarket, and what pops up? The first thing that pops up is this right here. So this is morphmarket.com, reptiles for sale. You could jump into some basic categories that they have, but we're gonna go to the home page here. So when you click into MorphMarket, here's what it looks like. At any time, you could click on this top left icon and it will take you to the home page, which is this. On the home page, you will have a search bar at the top where you could search like ball pythons. So it'll take you by default to some ball pythons that are for sale. Let's take a look at this real quick. This was posted on the 14th. So it looks like it defaults you to the most recent uploads. Because if you go to every single one of these snakes on the page, they're all uploaded today. On the home page, as you scroll down, you could pretty much ignore all of this for now. Choose the region that you're located in. If you're located in Europe, choose Europe. If you're located in South Africa, choose South Africa. But we're in the USA here, so let's choose USA. It will then give you a list of all the available reptiles that are being sold on MorphMarket. So if you don't know what MorphMarket is, look at it as basically a Craigslist, but for reptiles. And if you're not in America, Craigslist is the public marketplace that we use here for selling anything you want. And a lot of people will sell animals on Craigslist. MorphMarket is like the Craigslist, but just for reptiles. It is awesome, guys. The top breeders are on MorphMarket. Some breeders only sell from MorphMarket. It's that popular of a platform. And I'll show you everything that you need to know to get started. Let's go ahead and look into leopard geckos. So if you wanted to get into the category of leopard geckos, you just scroll down here and click on leopard gecko. The next thing that you will see is you will see every single genetic trait that is recognized by MorphMarket on this leopard gecko homepage here. Consider this the leopard gecko homepage. So MorphMarket has its own homepage. Going back to here, this is MorphMarket's homepage. But when you come to leopard geckos has its own sub homepage. And you can see some of the popular mutations such as Tremper albino right here. And it takes you to all the Tremper albinos that are for sale. If you want to go to Eclipse, you could click here and it will take you to all the eclipses for sale. Now, doesn't this look very similar? I mean, look, this is the exact same ad, $260, as we saw here on Tremper, $260. Same breeder, same gecko, same ad. Why is that? Because this gecko right here is overlapping traits. It is both Tremper and Eclipse. And it was posted today, December 14th. And so it falls into multiple categories. And MorphMarket will then put it into these different categories that it falls into. The next thing you'll want to understand is all of these colors that are listed next to the traits here. So let's take Tremper albino. When you look to the right of Tremper albino, each of these are clickable. There are 3 different categories that you can click on here. There are 158 Tremper albinos that are being sold right now as yellow. What does that mean? Well, if you come down to here, just slightly below where we were looking, incomplete and dominant genes are displayed as blue and purple. Purple is an incomplete dominant gene, meaning that 2 copies of the gene does something different than 1 copy of the gene. Normal dominance is considered blue, which is just 1 copy of the gene. 1 copy alters the wild appearance of that animal, but 2 copies of the gene doesn't do anything different, so it's just a normal dominant. Recessive genes come in 3 different colors: possible het, 100% het, and visual. So orange means that it's 100% het. Yellow means that it's possibly het, and then pink is what you're really going for, visual. You know, what does an albino look like visually? What does an eclipse look like visually? That will be labeled here. There are some things in leopard geckos that are defined as other, such as line bred traits. Tangerine is a line bred trait. Black Knight is a line bred trait. Bold Stripe is a line bred trait. Firebold is a line bred trait. Bold Stripe, here you go. When you click on Bold Stripe, what does it have next to it? Possible and normal. So it has this listed as other traits. What does possible mean? So let's take a look at what Bold Stripe looks like. You can see that Bold Stripe has 2 stripes of black going down its side, and the better ones will also have 2 stripes of black going down the tail. So this is a pretty decent gecko here, sold by Jones Geckos for $200. It is defined as a bold stripe. But when you click on possible bold stripes, what do you see? You see a lot of geckos that actually don't display those stripes. So do you see this right here? No stripes, it's just dots. This one is listed as possible bold stripe. And so what that means more or less is that maybe the mom or the dad was a bold stripe, but the other parent wasn't a bold stripe. And so the genetics didn't completely pass down 100% visually to the offspring. But there's always the chance that since that offspring came from a bold stripe parent, one of the parents was bold stripe, it has a higher disposition that if you now breed it back to another bold stripe, it has a higher chance of creating offspring that have bold stripes. So look at it again as like a chance or a possibility. Okay, so looking at our home page here, if you click on like home right here under the leopard gecko tab, it just kind of generalizes things for you a little bit more. It will tell you though that there are 1,600 leopard geckos for sale, 207 leopard gecko breeders, so that's some cool information. Usually you want to come to the browse tab because the browse tab will show you all of the geckos and the specific genetics that are for sale. You can also go to the stores tab. Okay, so these are all the leopard gecko breeders that are advertising on MorphMarket. If you were to click on any of these alphabetical letters, it would actually take you to different stores. Like, look, we were looking under leopard geckos, and now here's a ball python store. This guy has really nice ball pythons, by the way. I like him, and I'll be doing business with him soon. As you can see, here's a gecko store, a ball python store, snake stores. So now, look, when you see MorphMarket has 3,000 sellers available in the US, it took you from 207 sellers to 3,000 whenever you use this alphabetical line right here. So what you'll want to do for the most part, if you're just looking for geckos, just keep clicking on this bottom bar and it will show you everyone who is just selling leopard geckos. But if you know a store that is selling leopard geckos, you could click on their letter and try to find them this way. But sometimes that's more difficult because the people who have paid accounts, they will get advertised first, and then everyone who doesn't have a paid account, you have to keep scrolling through to find their name. It was so difficult to like even find my name, I just typed it in eventually. So the best way to find your name is actually just to go here. You could just type in Geeky Gecko Creations, hit enter or hit search, and you'll find me right here. I don't have the paid version of MorphMarket as a seller, so that's why my picture doesn't show up first, and my content doesn't get shot to the front of the list like everybody else that you just saw that does have pictures. But there's a lot of people that don't have a paid account. I probably will have a paid account one day, I just don't have it right now. It'll give you a brief synopsis of who that person is. Geeky Gecko Creations, my name, Frank Casalina. I have 14 available geckos right now. And if you click on it, it will take you to my profile. Here's my logo. Here's my website, like my personal website for Geeky Gecko Creations. Here's my Facebook page. Here's my phone number if you need to call me or message me about a gecko. The countries that I'm exporting to, any ratings that I have, my responsiveness. You know, when someone is interested in a gecko, it emails me and lets me know that someone is interested and whatever their question is, and then I can respond back. And it shows how quickly I respond within 2 hours typically. a little bit of an about section of who that person is, the store policy for what payments that person accepts, as well as their shipping standards, their return standards, whatever it might be, and then all of the available geckos that they have for sale. So listing 14 geckos, show all 14 categories from Geeky Gecko Creations, and these are the 14 categories that I have listed right now. You can see males, females, tangerine, hypo, bold. Now let's go back to the home page, go back to leopard geckos. The next thing is super important when dealing with leopard gecko genetics is the calculator. So if you click on this category right here, not every species has a calculator attached to it. If we go to home and we go to like milk snakes, and then you look at their categories right here for milk snakes, it has a home, which will show you, you know, how many milk snakes are available and how many breeders of milk snakes there are. It has a browse, which will show you all the varieties of milk snakes, the different genetic varieties of milk snakes. And it has stores. It will show you all the breeders that are selling milk snakes. But it does not have a calculator because MorphMarket has not designed a calculator for genetic odds for milk snakes. But it has for ball pythons has a calculator, and leopard geckos has a calculator. So let's go to calculate. It kind of looks confusing at first, but when you want to calculate the genetic possibilities of the traits that you're working with, you simply type in parent 1 multiplied by parent 2, and then you calculate those genetic odds. So let's say you have a Tremper albino parent on one side, and let's say that you have a Blizzard parent on the other side. You hit calculate, and it will show you 100% of the offspring will be 100% het for Tremper and 100% het for Eclipse. And those are your only two options that will come out of this pairing. And right here, you see that this is a clickable link. If you click on that specific mutation, what does it take you to? It takes you to geckos that are either sold or selling that fit into that category. 100% Blizzard, 100% Tremper. This gecko sold, it was last updated December 3rd, so it probably sold around December 3rd for $150, and it was het for Blizzard and het for Tremper albino. And now it actually had other genes in it. It was actually a Super Snow and Eclipse, but it was heterozygous for these other two genes, and you can see that's where it sold from. All of these other geckos, they will fall into the same category. This gecko's a little skinny, so don't take this as a reference of maybe the healthiest looking gecko. But as far as genetics is concerned, 100% het Blizzard, 100% het albino. All of these geckos will fall into at least those two categories. 100% het for Tremper, 100% het for Blizzard. Now let's go back to our odds here. To recalculate, you could either clear the odds or you could just add to your existing odds. You know, so let's add to our existing odds here. Let's say we have an albino Tremper that is het Blizzard. And let's say we have a Blizzard that is het albino Tremper. Calculate. Let's see what our odds look like now. 25%, or 1 out of every 4 babies, will be albino Tremper and Blizzard, which is called a blazing Blizzard. So you get your percentages over here, you get your traits over here, you get the number of mutations that are in that trait over here, and then you get the morph name of that trait over here. So 25% of the babies will be albino Blizzards, which are called blazing Blizzards. 25% of the babies will be Blizzards that are het albino. 25% of the babies will be albino that are het Blizzard, and 25% of the babies will be het albino and het Blizzard. So let's go up here and see what a blazing Blizzard looks like. 1 out of every 4 babies are going to pop out blazing Blizzard. Let's see what that looks like. A blazing Blizzard is a Blizzard that has the Tremper albino mutation inside of it as well, the fully displaying 2 genes of the Tremper albino display. It will be a little bit more pink than your normal Blizzard, because it is reducing all of that black pigment. And so when that happens, you kind of get a blizzard that is a little bit more pinkish. So all of these babies on this page will at least contain the albino gene and the blizzard gene, because we were searching for a blazing blizzard right here. So that is the genetic calculator. This calculator can get pretty crazy. It can do the craziest combinations. So let's do a crazy combination real quick. Let's do like tangerine, Tremper albino, white and yellow, blizzard, het eclipse. I was seeing if I could copy all that. I can't. So let's say we have a dad that is tangerine, Tremper, white and yellow, blizzard, het eclipse. And let's say we have a mom that is also tangerine. Let's say she's het Tremper. Let's say she's also white and yellow. Let's say she's het blizzard. And let's say she is eclipse. Now here you're going to get a lot of genetic possibilities and odds, but I just want to show you that this calculator can do anything. Calculate. Wow, look at that. Look at that. It's a whole page to read the genetic possibilities that can outcome here. 3% chance to get this, 6% chance to get that, 3%, 3%, 6%. All of these genetic odds now you're looking at are stretched out so very thin because of all the different variety that you're working with here, you know? So again, you can use this genetic calculator to calculate infinite odds. It will just continue to calculate anything that you put in there. So you'll always want to touch base with whatever category you're looking in by coming back to the browse feature. Now, once you come back to the browse feature, you could either select any of these genes that you want to look into. I've never heard of the cinnamon as a recessive gene. That's interesting. Usually MorphMarket will have 100% qualified and identifiable genetic traits. But every now and then you're going to get some stuff that looks weird or is not that qualifiable. So if you have a question on something, ask an experienced breeder, because when I click on cinnamon, this is listed as a recessive trait, but number one, I've never heard of cinnamon before. Number two, this looks like a hyponormal leopard gecko. So how this person listed it as cinnamon and how MorphMarket identified it as a recessive gene, that's a surprise to me. To me, I think that maybe MorphMarket is not the most up-to-date on this genetic trait right here, but they usually stay pretty up-to-date on stuff. Anyways, you know, cut them some slack. Ask a breeder if you're confused about something and say, hey, I see this cinnamon genetic here, but it looks kind of like a hyponormal. Can you explain this to me? And the breeder will tell you, yeah, there is no cinnamon recessive trait. Or you know what there is, it's just a super rare gene. So you could browse the latest and see all of these were posted today, December 14th. And as you browse deeper into these categories, it will start to show you older postings. This post is still December 14th, meaning that there are a lot of people posting leopard geckos because the first 3 pages were posted all today. And here we go. This one was posted September 13th. So on the 4th page, we have now finally hit geckos that were being posted in the past. So that's what happens when you hit browse latest. You can also see everything that has been sold. And if you hit sold, it will show you all the albino bells. You know, like click on any one of these categories and it will show you all the bells that have been sold and the date that they were relatively sold on. So you can see last updated December 3rd, so it was probably sold around December 3rd. Go back to browse. Remember, browse always takes you to your genetic possibilities page here. So I've actually never used trait combos, so I won't talk about that. But you can go to all, which will show you all of the leopard geckos that are sold / for sale. Most of the time, you're probably just going to want to look at the geckos that are for sale. And if you hit browse the latest for sale, it will then take you to a page where you can click. You could change the view. You could view it in this way, which to me isn't as cool. It just shows you like the genetic traits in a list format. I really like the grid view because it shows you the pictures. But here's one of my most favorite things to do recently. Hitting this filters tab. If you hit the filters tab, it will show you that you are in leopard geckos, but now you can choose anything you want. Let's look for the genetic possibility that the guy that inspired this video was asking me about. Hey, I want to find an adult female leopard gecko for sale. So you go to sex, female, age, adult, or you could choose subadult. You could also choose by weight, diet, whatever that animal is eating. As you can see, this diet, like a gecko's not going to be eating, it's live, frozen, pre-killed. And then it will show you mealworms, crickets, mice, how many traits you want in the animal, what traits you want to include. Let's say you want to include a female that is an adult, that is a Tremper albino. Let's say you want to exclude some traits. I don't want it to be blizzard. You could put that in there. Let's say you want a certain price. I want it 0 up to a maximum of $200, let's say, US dollar, or whatever your currency is. Availability, I want it for sale. Let's say I want it sold by a certain store. Let's say I want it sold by Geeky Gecko Creations, my store. You could do that. I'm not going to do that right now because I don't have any available females for sale. So you just go to any store. You could even do location. If you want to find someone who is in your state that you could pick up physically, you could do it by location right here. Country, if they're exporting to a different place, newest posted, or you could show like oldest posted, Usually you want to see the newest posted, and grid display. So let's review what we did here. We came from the browse area, we clicked on browse latest, then we went to filters, and then we chose female, adult, and let's not select any other traits here. Let's just say a female adult that is currently for sale. It could be from any store, any location in the United States. I want a grid view. I want to see the newest that is posted first, and then click go. And here you will see all of your adult female leopard geckos that were posted for sale recently. Again, when you go to the bottom, all of these will get older as you go to these pages, but let's look at this. Here we have a Blizzard Marble Eye 38 gram 2019 female leopard gecko from Jones Geckos, listed for $100, posted today. Sometimes they'll put descriptive information here, diet, mealworms, more photos of her on our website, and we have a picture of her eyes on our website. 10% off your entire order. When you order from our website, use promo code Happy Holidays 2020. Here is the store's terms of service. Here is their about. And you can also go to all geckos that this breeder is selling. But let's say you're interested in this specific gecko. All you will do is hit inquire to buy, type in your question here, hit I've read and agreed to the seller's policies, and then hit send. And it will send off an email to Jones Geckos, who will receive your email, reply to your email, and send an email back to you, and you can begin a conversation with that person. Here is the ID number of the gecko. It's listed as 2019 Emily Blizzard. So in your email, it's automatically going to show that this is the gecko you're talking about because MorphMarket sets it up that way. But if you want to say, hey, I was looking at your 2019 Emily Blizzard. I'm interested in her, blah, blah, blah. Do you have any other adult females that you are selling? And they can respond to you. You can ask them any questions on there. So let's look at this one right here. This one is Jungle Bold Lavender female, 58 grams, born on April 15th, 2019. The breeder is in Virginia. The name of their company is Fireball Gecko. The price is $325. Their shipping is $25 to $55. Posted today. ID number right here. She has produced amazing babies. I will not be focusing on any bold or lavender geckos. That's the description. We accept full payment with PayPal on our website. About the seller, more geckos from the seller, all geckos being sold by Fireball Gecko, and inquire to buy. Blah, blah, blah. I want to buy, or I'm interested. I have some questions. I've read and agreed to the store's policies. Send. And that's it. We're not going to send because I don't want to send them a message of random letters. And that's pretty much it, guys. So thank you guys for tuning in once again. Message me if you have any questions. Drop a comment below. I'll see you guys next time, and have a Geeky Gecko great day.